but loud.
You obviously had a real thing about Hamlet for a while, because not long after playing Hamlet, you then returned to the same play, but in a different role, playing Laertes opposite Ralph Fiennes' Hamlet, in a production that began in London and then went to Broadway, to the Belasco. And what I remember to this day about that is the extraordinary duel at the end, which in fact I wrote a piece about for the New York Times, because it was considered one of the great sort of Hamlet-Laertes duels that had ever been staged. Was that kind of a great moment for you, that whole production?
Well, it absolutely was. It was something that nearly didn't happen, because Jonathan Kent called me and said, "Darling, I'd like you to play Laertes. Starting in Hackney, we're going to Broadway. It's going to be fabulous, fabulous production." And I said, "Jonathan, darling, I couldn't possibly. I've just played the Dane in Regent's Park. I couldn't possibly play Laertes." I was promptly out of work for 3 months. The phone, no one called about anything. And I called him 3 months later and I said, "Jonathan, you remember you asked me to come and play Laertes? I don't suppose it's still open, do you?" He just said, "Darling, I knew you'd call. Of course it is." and so I went off to play Laertes, and thank God I did. It was a real coming of age, sort of rites of passage experience, being in a big show on Broadway like that, and experiencing New York's love of theatre and real intellectual engagement with the material. Quite a lot of letting everyone around them know, I got that joke, that Polonius line, it's very funny. Just letting the person next to them that they know their Shakespeare. So there's quite a bit of that goes on in New York. But we did, is anyone here from New York? But you did, but they're more vocal. They're more vocal than us stuffy Brits, and that's actually lovely to play to. And it's a real change. There's a different sort of visceral feel in the theatres there.
So two different productions of Hamlet. You'd done a Moliere at the Almeida School for Wild